Hello Stampers and welcome to Laura's StampPad. Today I am sharing with you another fabulous one-sheet wonder. I know how much you guys love these because of all of the views, all the likes, all the thumbs ups, and I super appreciate that because I love this too. It is so much fun. It's a great way to use your designer series paper. It's a great way to use both sides of your designer series paper without having to pick, well, do I want to use this one? No, I think I have a better project for the back side. So this piece of paper that I used for this one sheet wonder is from the It's My Party designer series paper stack from the Occasions mini catalog, which is ending at the end of this month, May 2016. I loved this paper. It is so gorgeous. It's melon mambo. Those stars are super fabulous, but the polka dots of the yellow, crushed curry, and melon mambo polka dots on the back side is just as fabulous. So I was like, I need to save this for that perfect project, and this is that perfect project. So we're going to do the one sheet wonder. These are all 14 of the cards that I created with just one sheet of 12 by 12. So it's super fabulous. I did all 14 cards. We're going to push these aside and I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer so that I can show you the cuts on doing the one sheet wonder template. Okay, so here we have our one sheet wonder piece of designer series paper. This is just a regular 12 by 12 piece of designer series paper. It's got those gorgeous stars with melon mambo and whisper white on one side. And then it has the fabulous polka dots with the melon mambo and crushed curry on the back side. So I think it'll be easier maybe for you to be able to see on this side. So here I have my Stampin' trimmer, and the first cut that we are going to make is going to be at 5.5. And since this one doesn't really have a pattern going up and down or side to side, then it doesn't really matter which way we do it. So we're gonna make our first cut at 5.5. So then we have this strip here is 5.5 by 12. And we're gonna take this and we're going to then make our cuts going along the 12-inch side. So the first one is at 4 1/4. So this piece measures 5.5 by 4 1/4. That one you can either use as a full piece and do one card, or I like to rip it diagonally and do 2 cards. The next one is 2 1/4, so that's 2 1/4 by 5.5. This is great. It goes the full length of a regular card size at 5.5. Then we're going to do 2 by 5.5, and then 1 3/4 by 5.5. And then my template actually shows a 1.5 inch strip, and then you cut off just a little 1/4 inch, but I just decided why cut off that 1/4 inch. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this last piece at 1 3/4. Again, I do have a fabulous template that I'll be posting a link to down below. It'll also be found on my blog, laurastamppad.com. But you can always modify the template to your own and do whatever you'd like with it. So that's our first set of strips. That's the very bottom of the template. So now we're going to pull back in our full size piece, and now we're going to cut at 4.5. So then this is going to measure 4.5 by 12. So there we have that 4.5 by 12 piece, and we're going to cut along there. The first one is at 3.5. So this is 4.5 by 3.5. And then the next one is at 1.5. And again, my template says that this piece should be 1.5 by 4 1/4. And then you can do it sideways to fit a card going, a regular size card going sideways. So for now, I'm just gonna actually leave this alone, and I might use it on a full size card. Like you could use it like this on a full size card rather than trimming off that little bit and going sideways like that. So I'm gonna leave that alone right now and just leave all of these at 4.5. So the first one was 4.5 by 1.5. The second one, actually this is now the third one. The first one was 4.5 by 3.5. The second was 4.5 by 1.5. This one's also 4.5 by 1.5. Then we have 4.5 by 2. And then we have, this next one is a 4 by 2, and you cut it into two 2-inch squares. So again, you could leave it alone and leave it like that, or if you would like the squares, then you can cut it into two 2-inch squares. So there's your two 2-inch squares, and then you just have that little piece there that we won't need. So there's our two 2-inch squares. Then your last piece here is a 1.5 strip, 1.5 by 4.5, and I'm going to cut all of this into 1.5-inch squares. So they're 1.5 by 1.5, and then sometimes there's a little smidgen left over, so let's see. Nope, it's good. 1.5 by 1.5, and there's your 3 squares. Again, you could modify this and just leave it as one strip and do it like that if you don't like the squares. Again, I have that top piece that on my template it's grayed out that you can use it for however you wish. This measures 2 inches by 12. You could use it as a little belly band to wrap up all of your other cards, to then give it as a gift to someone. You know, you could wrap all your cards in it like this and do a little gift packaging piece. Or you can also use this for additional cards. So I'm actually just going to cut it at 5.5. So it's 5.5 by 2. 5.5 by 2. And so you just have this little leftover piece. So right now I just have these two little leftover pieces that we were not using. How fabulous is that you're using pretty much every little bit of that 12 by 12 sheet. I love that. And this is where I got cards 13 and 14 out of, were those last two pieces. So now let's bring back in the samples and I'll kind of show you how I did some of the cards. So I ripped this piece diagonal. I used the polka dots on one side, the stars on the other side, and I just adhered it to a regular sheet, a regular card front, which is 4.25 by 11. So these are actually like the taller ones that stand up like this. So it's a full sheet like that. The other awesome thing that I love about One Sheet Wonders is I just look at the list of colors on the Designer Series paper pack, and it tells me what colors are used in the cardstock. So I pull out some full sheets, 8.5 by 11, and then I pull out my scrap packs. And that's how I create all of these cards. I just cut some card bases using the colors, Crushed Curry, Melon Mambo, and I use Whisper White. And then I use the scraps that I have to add layers, to add a greeting piece, to just add a little foo-foo to it and decorate them however I wish. All of these cards, I use just a very simple greeting, like a happy hello, just because, just a simple greeting that I could use for just my general cards. This is done with the Tin of Cards stamp set, and then I use the decorative label punch, added a little bit of Crushed Curry Baker's Twine, and there you have super fabulous cards. So then the next set of cards, these are all the cards that I created with those 5.5 pieces. So it's 5.5, and then there's varying depths that go along on this. So here I just ripped like a little piece. The piece of Crushed Curry is maybe that big, and then I just ripped the one side. You don't need to cover the whole back of it. You're just covering it up anyway, so it's kind of a waste. So any of those like little skinny strips that you've been saving that you just think that you need to keep, perfect for this. Here's another one that I just used the Just Because from the same Tin of Cards stamp set. And then here I added a little bit of the cotton ribbon and then popped my greeting up with the decorative label punch. Here I went down the middle rather than doing, although it does look a little off center now that I look at this, but that's okay. Made with love, not perfection. But this one, you know, I did all those off to the side, so this one I decided to do in the middle and added some little Baker's Twine to that. Here I did this one in the middle with some Baker's Twine as well. And then this one I did off to the side, but then added that greeting down at the bottom. So those are with a lot of that bottom layer of the template, those 5.5 pieces, and then also those 2 strips that are up top. And then with those skinny strips that are 4.5, some of them I cut down so that they were actually 4.25, and I did, you know, along the short side, added a little Baker's Twine, and then did the backing there with some layered of Melon Mambo. Then this one I didn't back it with any color, I just left it on the white and then added some cotton ribbon. And then this one I added a little bit of Whisper White to the back and added that greeting. Then the last 3 cards are those big square pieces. So this is that 3.5 by 4.5 piece, and I just added some of the baker's twine, and then the little greeting in the middle. This one I actually used the Watercolor Wishes stamp set because I loved that hello. And then I used those 2 squares, and I just backed those in Whisper White and added them. And then I brushed the edges of this in the Melon Mambo with my sponge dauber just to add a little layer of that without actually adding cardstock. And then this one is those 3 little 1.5 inch squares that I just backed in some crushed curry. And then I stamped the greeting from Tin of Cards. I inked it up and stamped it 1, 2, and 3 times without returning to the ink to get that little ombre effect of that beautiful pink color. Super fabulous. I love it. So that's all 14 of the cards that I created with this One Sheet Wonder and this designer series paper. I can't wait to create so many more. You can get a lot of cards very quickly, so if you need a whole bunch of thank you notes for graduation, or you need, you just need to like stash up some cards to have on hand, this is the perfect way to get that, a lot of cards, little bit of cardstock, your favorite greeting stamp set, and you are all set. I have another one that I'll be showing next Tuesday, so don't forget to subscribe because I post every Tuesday and Thursday. So I'll be posting another one next Tuesday, which is a little bit more elegant, and I did those cards in wedding, sympathy, thoughts and prayers, like that sort of theme, with some beautiful flowers from the birthday bouquet. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And be sure to check out my blog. I'll have more photos and information on these on my blog, laurastamppad.com. And I'll see you next time. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.